Hi, I'm Matt and welcome to my video. I'll be covering recent tech news in this video. These new videos will generally cover gaming related tech stuff, but also tech and hardware stuff in general. And as always, I'm grateful for any feedback, so if you feel the need to do so, please go ahead. I will now get into some tech news from this past week or so. If you've watched my Some Time with Matt videos, then you may know this is my first tech-focused news episode. Hopefully everything goes okay and you like it. I may change the format around the future, but it will likely be this way for a while. Also, my gaming news episode, the first one, come out yesterday, so you can check that as well if you like. So yeah, I'll get into some tech stuff now. So the first bit of news is on the 5600X3D CPU. So AMD is partnering with Micro Center, which is a mostly tech retailer in the United States, to release a Zen 3 3D V-Cache CPU, the Ryzen 5 5600X3D. So this processor is a 3D V-Cache variant of the popular Ryzen 5 5600X, similar to how there's a Ryzen 7 5800X 3D, which is a 3D cache variant of the Ryzen 7 5800X. I'll go over a quick explanation, just be very just brief, of what 3D cache actually is. So it's additional cache stacked on top of the CPU die. If I'm read this all correct and understand it correctly. So yeah, stacked on top of the CPU die, additional cache using 3D stacking techniques to achieve this, which is during the manufacturing process of the CPU. So at the silicon fab, I guess. Um, so usually CPU cache is laid alongside the processor, I believe, but in this case, yeah, it's stacked on top of the CPU die, I believe. So this 3D V cache is L3 cache. This increase in cache generally improves game performance, but and some productivity if it's productivity work that's cache dependent, but it can actually reduce productivity performance slightly. This is due to lower clock speeds on 3D V-Cache CPUs because of they have stricter thermal limits. I believe this is because the increased cache produces more heat. Might be wrong, but I think that's what I read. Pretty sure that's good. The 5600X3D, it'll feature 96 megabytes of this V cache, the L3 cache, which is the same as the 5800X3D. And the original 5600X has 32 megabytes of L3 cache, so it's a fair bit more, 3 times as much. So yeah, should do some. It should increase the gaming performance a fair bit. And it looks like, from what I read, that these new 5600X3Ds will be made from 5800X3D CPUs that have either defective cores or are unable to reach the required clock speeds. This means they'll will be not be an entirely new fabricated CPU, but I believe the 5000 series of Ryzen, the fabrication of them stopped a little while ago. So, but yeah, so it'd be CPUs that AMD kind of has lying around, I guess, that they can't really do a lot with. So yeah, instead of these defective 5800X3Ds just go into landfill or just bins, they can be rebadged and sold, and they should be all tested and working fine. And any that don't should be able to be returned. They all still should, I would hope, should still have warranty as they're classed as like a new product. But yeah, they will only be through Micro Center in the US. That's the only place you'll be able to purchase them, as far as I know. And yeah, these, if you know a bit about CPUs, these are for AM4 socket motherboards. So AMD's previous, but still really good performing platform. Plenty of good reviews for that platform of motherboards and all the CPUs and the 5000 series, all great, great CPUs generally. So yeah, though, as I mentioned, they'll only be sold in the US through Micro Center. I think Micro Center has about 25 stores across the US. This is just due to Micro Center signing an exclusive partnership with AMD, so this allows them to sell the CPUs exclusively at their stores. I don't believe AMD has much involvement in it. I think it's Best Buy sort of got the partnership, the contracts to do like most of it themselves. So yeah, it'll be exclusively through them. But yeah, that's quite an interesting thing. I don't think that's really ever happened that I know of before. But yeah, might be a bit random, but yeah, just something interesting, I guess. So review wise, the reviews just literally come out as I was recording the gaming episode actually. So yeah, I had a bit of a look at the reviews. So it looks like it's a pretty good performer in gaming. It's around 10% on the low end to up to almost, I think it was 40%. One of the, or maybe one or more of the games faster than the standard non-Vcache 5600X. It matches the higher core count 5800X 3D in most games, and in some games it matches Intel 13th gen CPUs and Ryzen AMD 7000 series CPUs, but as does the 5800X 3D in some games as well. The 5600X 3D, like the 5800X 3D, is also pretty power efficient. The 5600X 3D is pulling about 75 watts in an all-core workload. This is about 10 watts more than the 5600X, so it's pretty efficient considering the extra percentage of gaming performance it gives. So yeah, it does seem like a fairly good product. Although I think the price of $229 is a little bit higher than I'd like in the current market, I guess. Like released like a year ago, it'd probably be, that price would probably be okay, but it just seems a little bit too pricey currently. But I have heard you can get it at Mike Center with like other components and combo deals, which they've done for years. Retailers always do that. But yeah, so that might be the way to go if this CPU interests you. I will link the Gamers Nexus review in the description as well, in case you wanted to go over the review yourself. I think a couple other reviewers also have done them, in the US reviewers, like Jay's 2 Cents and I believe Linus. But yeah, seems like all around a decent sort of budget, I guess budget CPU, kind of budget, I guess. And hopefully you won't, but you might see them being scalped online, but I'm not really sure, to be honest. Maybe on sites as eBay, but yeah, let's hope not. Doesn't seem like it has that much hype around it to be something that would be scalped, but you never know. I guess if you want to buy it and you're outside the US, you might have to pay like a scalped price or something. But yeah, I wouldn't bother. Just buy something else if you're outside the US, maybe. But yeah, and if you are looking to buy one in the US, yeah, probably do so with a motherboard, a CPU combo, something like that. If you haven't got like a PC or you're building a new one, maybe, or just buy it and just drop it in an AM4 motherboard. Maybe you're still on like a 3600 or something, or 2600 even maybe, and you just want like a newer, faster gaming specific CPU. And apparently they will have stock for approximately 4 to 6 months, they think, given demand after release. So yeah, that's a bit of time to pick one up, I guess. But yeah, this will likely be the last CPU for the AM4 platform. So yeah, it's a bit of a surprise one, I guess, that it's dropped. But interesting. Anyway, random, but yeah, interesting. So the next bit of news is NVIDIA and PCI 6. So this is the 12VHPWR or 12VH power replacement. So NVIDIA and PCI 6 infamous 12VH PWR cable, which is used to power 40 series, I think just the Founders generally, 40 series RTX Founders Edition cards like the 4080 and 4090. So it looks like the connector is already being replaced by the still in development 12V2x6 power connector. This would be the new power connector going forwards, I guess. So I believe AIBs like Asus and MSI mostly use their own 16 pins, but I'm not 100% sure on every model uses their own. So maybe check, but if you were to buy one. But yeah, I think this is mostly the Founders card. So why this is news then is this comes after a number of RTX 40 series users had reported issues with the 12VH power connector, and I've had to claim warranty for the faulty power connectors, which had caused burn and melting damage, and had I think broken some cards maybe as well, mostly 4090s. But yeah, generally the power connector, like the socket and the power plug, 12VH power is yeah, a number of them, especially I think it was around launch, a number of them had burnt and melted, and I've seen a few reports of it happening just since they've been released. Even I saw one recently actually that happened with a third party cable, I think, that used the 12VHPWR standard. But yeah, there's still some posts to like Reddit and things about it, but it does seem to be less frequent. And a number of tech YouTubers reported and produced videos on the problem when it was originally happening, including Gamers Nexus and Jay's 2 cents. They found that some of these cards were damaged, apparently because of user error due to the power connectors not being seated properly in the graphics card's power slot. Although it looks like not all damage because of user error, but because of design flaws with the 12VHPWR connector itself. These design flaws could also increase the chance of a user unknowingly damaging their 40 series Founders Edition cards. So yeah, they probably should have maybe designed the connector a bit better, or with less flaws, just because it's not the user's fault if you make something that's got flaws in it and then it's like accidentally causes errors. It's yeah, not great. And yeah, because of this fairly serious issue, NVIDIA and PCI SIG are working on a new cable to replace the 12VHPWR. So this cable, as mentioned, will be called the 12V 2x6. It seems the new in development power connector will be compatible with 12VHPWR standards and connections. So hopefully you should be able to use it with 12VH power supplies and other like compatible components like the graphics cards. Although it isn't 100% certain that it will work with everything, but so it is best to check anyway. Even though it does say that they should be, it's probably best to check in the future if you buy a graphics card to just to check in case it's compatible, and the power compatibility and power supply compatibility just in case if you do decide to go ahead and get a new card with one of these cables. I'm guessing as well you might be able to get hold of if like third party manufacturers like Cable Mod, maybe they'll do like a 12V2x6 custom power cable that you could swap out with your 4090, swap out the 12VH power cable for it on there, like a 4090 or a 4080. But yeah, I guess it probably won't be coming anytime soon, maybe later towards the end of the year if they finish to finalize all the design by then. So it looks like specs wise, the new 12V2x6 power connector will have a slightly higher power rating of 675 combined wattage, so 600 watts over the actual power connector from the power supply, and then 75 watts over the PCIe slot that your graphics card plugs into on your motherboard. So this is compared to 12VH Power's 600 watt, I believe, total, and will include changes to the sense pins. These changes to the sense pins are the major change. So the 12V2x6 sense pins are shorter, and that will require full seating of the connector to enable max GPU power delivery. Because that was the main issue, was I think if the cable wasn't seated correctly, the pins could still get full power, and this could lead to melting and burning of the connector. So yeah, the shorter sense pins, these should hopefully prevent GPUs from accessing the full wattage if the cable is not fully seated, thus reducing the chance of burnt or melting cables or connectors. And yeah, this new power connector will likely be implemented, I think, on any new RTX 40 series cards that released. If they do release any, I'm not really sure. There's been a bit of speculation about the 4090 Ti or Titan, but I don't. That's not really much confirmed about it, I don't think. And also read an article on PC Gamer saying that some new RTX 4070 FE Founders Edition models have been shipped with this new connector, or at least like an interim version of it, like a bit of a stopgap, I guess. So it may be being implemented on stuff that's still being manufactured as well. So that's good to know, I guess. But if NVIDIA do some sort of refresh to the 40 series, like super variants similar to the RTX 20 series, then these new connectors will probably be the ones that will ship with those. Or yeah, as I said, if they release any more TI models like the 4080 Ti or 4090 Ti, then more than likely they will use the new cable. And I'm guessing unless they change the spec again in the next 12 to 18 months, probably this will be the new connector for the RTX 50 series GPUs, which will probably be out the end of 2024 from what I've read about. But yeah, that's still a little way off, I guess. So yeah, it is good. NVIDIA and PCI SIG are working on this, and it will hopefully remedy the issue with the 12VHPWR melting and burning issues. But I will say though, it is a shame they did not just think of this while designing the 12VHPWR. As now, I think most 4090 FEs and 4080s out in the wild has the like slightly inferior 12VH PWR connector. Although I guess the issue isn't doesn't seem to be obviously everyone, or there'd be a real big issue on Nvidia's hands, but it still seems to be more common than you'd like. I mean, obviously you'd like it to be 0% chance, but I guess it's not possible. But yeah, it's just a pain. You would have think they would have thought of this originally, but I don't know. We'll just at least they're remedying it now to some extent. So that's good at least. So the next bit of news is PS5 prototype dev kits. So a couple of PS5 prototype dev kits have surfaced for sale online. So this is on Yahoo in Japan. So these are prototype 2 models, I believe, which have a Blu-ray drive and are slightly different from the later retail class PS5 dev kits, which I don't believe have Blu-ray drives. So the first listing for the prototype 2 dev kit had started with a price at, I think, 500,000 Japanese yen, which is just over 3,600 US dollars. And yeah, after some time, I think a few days, it looks to have sold for about 702,000 yen, or almost 5,100 US dollars. And yeah, last time I looked, the listing had 68 bids at the time it ended, so a fair bit of interest. I guess as you'd imagine, given the dev kits are usually quite rare, especially out in the wild. Yeah, you don't usually see that many of them. There's also a second listing actually by the same seller of the same type of prototype dev kit, which is also up. I think it's still up at the moment. I don't think it's ended, but although it may have ended by the time this video goes up. And yeah, it also has a starting price of 500,000 Japanese yen, and again around $3,600 for that one. Also, yeah, this is yeah, just thought I'd add a bit quite interesting to me. But yeah, there have been a number of dev kits from various console generations in the past over the years. Ones that had previously been sold on eBay and other auction sites. I've never come across one when I've been looking on sites, but then I'm not generally interested in buying dev kits. And they're pretty expensive too. But yeah, they're also finite. I wouldn't imagine they'd really be making them anymore. The ones that are out there are usually are in the hands of developers or Sony themselves, or the odd one like this slips out and ends up being sold. But yeah, because of that sort of rarity, generally leads to fairly high sale values for most dev kits. But yeah, I'm not certainly, yeah, as I said, not considering putting an offer in. It's way too pricey for me. I do mention before, like collecting some old physical games, and to a lesser degree, old hardware. I have some like old graphics cards and PC components stored away. Some of it just in case I need like a backup part for whatever reason, but also it's just like a little piece to collect. Might add some footage in now of a couple of old graphics cards. I have a GTX 970 and a 260 that I have lying around. I'll do a bit of bit of footage on that, and may also do a video on some old tech stuff at a later date too. So that might be interesting as like a separate video. As yeah, I do think some old tech is yeah, pretty cool actually. But yeah, I don't have any like old dev kits or prototypes or anything like around that I know of anyway. Uh, maybe in the future, I don't know. Probably not. I think I'll probably end up buying working consoles way before I ever went that deep into like hardware collecting things. The only like old consoles I have are an Xbox 360e and a broken PSP. Well, I think it's the screen's broken. It might work. Maybe it's getting fixed up, but it doesn't work when I've tested it. And I also do have a PS4, but I wouldn't I wouldn't say that's retro yet. But yeah, sometimes I'll just pick up some old stuff like for testing, like those like the older GPUs and things. So that could be a bit interesting. But yeah, maybe a video on that sort of thing in the future. So yeah, the next bit I'll move into a bit of Microsoft Xbox Series news. So this is the Microsoft has revealed that they have sold a total so far of around 21 million Xbox Series X and S consoles, though they didn't reveal how many each console X or S sold, just the total across that series. And, yeah, this was announced during a recent presentation at the BRG or Big Festival in Brazil. Looks like the event ran from June 28th until 2nd of July. So, for comparison, around 58 million Xbox One consoles have been sold, with production starting in 2013 and ending at the end of 2020, I believe, for those Xbox One. So it's Xbox One, Xbox One S, and Xbox One X, I believe. And the PS4 consoles, the PS4, I believe the Slim and the PS4 Pro, so they racked up sales, I believe all of them combined racked up sales of about 117 million, so quite a lot during its similar production run. And yeah, as of March, it seems Sony has sold just over 38 million PS5, so that's a fair bit already. I guess I think the PS2 and the Wii are. I think the PS2 sold slightly more, but of around 150 million or so copies. I think the Wii sold a little bit less than that, but those are the two biggest selling consoles ever, I believe. So it looks like another generation where Sony is outselling Microsoft by a fair bit. I do have a Series S that I play sometimes, although generally at the moment I'm playing stuff on PC. As I mentioned in an episode of Sometime with Matt previously, Microsoft are also releasing a black 1 terabyte edition version of the Xbox Series S, which is I think on the 1st of September this year. And I think if a game like Starfield was Xbox like console exclusive, then I might have maybe would have sold my Series S and got a Series X, but I'm not. There's not much point. I think due to the like maybe because of the high performance of the Series X, you could probably get better gaming experience generally on that for higher end type like Starfield. But I'm glad Starfield's on PC though, so there's not much point in me doing so. I'll keep my Series S. I do like going on it every now and then. It's quite a cool little console just to jump on to play things every now and then. Xbox games, it's because of the backwards compatibility. It's quite good, so you can just play older stuff from the Microsoft Store and on Game Pass and stuff. So it's quite cool for that. But yeah, stick to the PC for higher end stuff. I've also have considered buying a PS5 for the exclusives like Demon Souls remake and Gran Turismo 7. And yeah, a few of my friends actually have PS5s, but yeah, I haven't ended up getting one. If I do buy one, it probably won't be anytime soon. As yeah, generally hope some, if not all, of the exclusives come to PC at some point. As like older games like Spider-Man and Horizon Zero Dawn and Last of Us Part One, they're all on PC now. But yeah, I'm not really holding my breath for Demon Souls or Gran Turismo. I definitely don't think Gran Turismo would come. Then more chance of Demon Souls. I think yeah, probably don't hold your breath if you're waiting for some other games to come because it took years for just those. But yeah, hopefully eventually. You never know. Maybe they will. Let's hope for that. PS4 I know, but Bloodborne on PC would be really cool. I do actually have a copy of Bloodborne on PS4, but it would be really cool if they did that on PC. think the fan base is really hoping for that one. So yeah, talking about Starfield, I'll get into a bit of Starfield and AMD news. So AMD announced in a video on its YouTube channel that it's partnering with Starfield. So they quoted, I'll quote them. They said Bethesda's exclusive PC partner for the next generation role-playing game Starfield. So yeah, they basically revealed that they are uh, AMD are Starfield's exclusive PC partner. So that's interesting. So yeah, this usually when a GPU or CPU manufacturer partners with like a specific game studio or publisher, it usually means that they will work with uh, the publisher or developer will work with like say AMD for this to improve performance on like AMD GPUs and potentially CPU based systems, as they AMD do GPU and CPU now. So that means it'd be very likely that um, almost certain that Starfield will have FSR on launch, either probably FSR 1 and 2, but maybe the rumoured FSR 3. But yeah, generally FSR implementation is a good thing, as yeah, FSR works with pretty much any GPU, at least as far back officially as the GTX 10 series and AMD's RX 400 series, like the RX 480 and 470 of other graphics cards. Although I checked videos for this because I thought I'd seen older cards. There are some videos with much older, like 5 and 6 and 700 series AMD NVIDIA GPUs and like equivalent AMD GPUs at the time, like the 7970 Radeon HD 7970. And there are also some videos of it working with Intel GPUs and apparently even Intel integrated graphics from their UHD series of integrated iGPUs. And the game generally does have to have official FSR support, but I've seen videos also of it being modded into some games as well. And bring up Intel and NVIDIA also have their own versions. Intel's is XESS, and I'll speak about this in a minute, but NVIDIA was DLSS. So FSR, or Fidelity FX Super Resolution, is basically, in basic terms, an open source super sampling and upscaling software technology or feature. And yeah, it was basically created by AMD to compete with, as I mentioned, NVIDIA's DLSS, or Deep Learning Super Sampling, which is an AI-based upscaler. So NVIDIA, yeah, they developed DLSS a bit before AMD's FSR. So then, yeah, AMD sort of got into the upscaling game as well. And yeah, you generally want more than one competitor doing it, so that's good. So basically, they both do it slightly different ways, but they do end up with kind of the same output. So they both render the game at a lower resolution, then upscale it to your chosen in-game resolution. This yeah, generally increases frame rates just because it uh, lowers the graphics demand on the GPU. But it can have image quality issues, especially at lower resolutions and like performance presets. So yeah, it doesn't have as many like image uh, issues if you're at a higher resolution, or the higher the resolution you go anyway. So let's get into the current. There's a bit of a controversy. This is around AMD, but also a bit of NVIDIA. So it looks like AMD might be potentially blocking DLSS implementation in Starfield. But yeah, this is all sort of allegations at the moment. And also they're saying that some people have said that it may also have done this in, AMD may also have done this in some other games where FSR was implemented. But yeah, there's also allegations sort of thrown at NVIDIA that they've done the same in the past. So yeah, they may have both may have done it, but we'll get into that a bit later, maybe. But yeah, this is a bit concerning from both companies, as generally I think it is best for games to have all the different brands features implemented, just so that users have more choices when playing and optimizing their games. So more options are, yeah, usually a better usually better than less options, I'd say, generally. So, and I've used both DLSS and FSR, and both work, yeah, pretty good. But yeah, it does differ on a game by game basis, I guess. Some games don't have the full implementation of like some games like have FSR 1 but not 2, and some have like DLSS 1 but not 2, I guess. But yeah, so it's game by game basis really. But go over some quote some bits here. So Nvidia has commented on this, saying Nvidia does not and will not block, restrict, discourage, or hinder developers from implementing competitive technologies in any way. AMD also commented, saying there are a number of games that support only DSS currently, and later commented, AMD is committing to doing what is best for game developers and gamers, and we give developers the flexibility to implement FSR into whichever games they choose. So yeah, these comments were provided by Nvidia and AMD, respectively, to WCCF Tech recently. I'll put the links to all this stuff in the description as well, as I usually do. But yeah, I mean, hopefully all the GPU brands have their upscaling technologies implemented in Starfield and any game really, DLSS, FSR, XESS. And yeah, as I mentioned, it's generally always is better to have more choice when it comes to in-game performance options. I'll link to, yeah, as I said, the videos covering this sort of situation. I think it's Hardware Unboxed videos, specifically where Tim from Hardware Unboxed was asking Andy for comment and just speaking about it generally. So I'll link that as well. But yeah, next bit more of Nvidia, just a shorter bit, I guess. So this is the Nvidia RTX 4060 sales numbers. I went mentioned the RTX 4060 in previous videos, but yeah, just a quick final bit of tech news on the 4060. So looks like similar to the 4060 Ti, as I spoke about previously. The 4060 is not selling well, and yeah, has already had slight price drops, as that card also had. I think this is predominantly in European countries, but there's some talk of it may also be happening in the US at some point soon. So video cards reported that German retailer, I believe it's Mind Factory, reduced the price of some 4060 models already by €20. And apparently in Japan, I'll cover a bit of Japan quick, there was a report that a single person had waited in line to get an RTX 4060 at a big Japanese store. Where in the past for like GPU releases, it's usually like lines of people. But yeah, it's apparently just one person. I know there's not as much like craze for graphics cards at the moment because of their pricing and things, but yeah, it's still a single person. It's not too great, I guess. But yeah, I'm kind of not surprised. Like the RTX 4060 Ti, didn't really think this would sell very well, especially given the generally poor reviews the 4060 received. That I mentioned in sometime on Matt in previous episode of that, I think. And I did check PC Part Picker, and at this time there were only two 4060 Ti ratings and zero 4060 ratings. But yeah, I know this might seem a bit early to check that, but I've noticed that usually new cards receive a few ratings within a week or two after launch. Generally, I think when I've looked, usually there's a fair bunch of reviews for the other 40 series cards, although I guess they have been out a fair bit longer. But yeah, just generally seems like it isn't performed like the 46, like the 60 class cards aren't really performing very well, given the current climate, especially. And yeah, I'm guessing this will be the last RTX 40 series news until the reviews for the 4060 Ti 16 gig come out. Should be later this month, but yeah, that will be in a couple weeks, I would imagine. So the tech news episode in a couple weeks probably cover that. But yeah, just a correction here. I think I said in the sometime in that episode that they are going to be released for £500, but yeah, I was wrong. It's actually going to release at four, not 579. Geez, Christ, it'll be releasing at 479 for the Founders Edition, maybe $500 though. So that's the Founders Edition from Nvidia. And now I'm moving to what you would usually move into new and upcoming tech now, but I kind of spoke about the 4060 Ti already, but this bit will usually be just, yeah, It might not be every week, but just because, as unlike gaming, where games generally release all the time, tech is a bit more staggered usually, unless it's like a big drop of GPUs and CPUs and things. But generally, it's a bit more staggered than gaming. So yeah, the only thing to mention was the as I mentioned briefly a minute ago, is just the 4060 Ti, which is probably going to release in the next couple weeks, and I'll just cover that when reviews are out. Next, I'll get in some tech deals. So I usually do game deals. So I thought, why not do in my gaming news episode? So why not do tech deals as well? So just some brief tech deals that I thought were notable. So Amazon has a number of deals on tech at the moment. These are, I think, mostly for Prime Day early deals. So there's a few SSDs that I noticed that were the good deals as far as I can tell. So I saw the WD, so Western Digital SN850X PCI 4.0 SSDs. The variants of that are on deal. So I've seen the 4 terabyte version for as low as about 270, 280, and the 2 terabyte for around 130. We've also got the Sabrent Rocket 4 Plus and 4 Plus G, which is the drive I have, the 4 Plus G. So, which is another PCI 4.0 SSD on sale, with the 2 terabyte models respectively going from 120 to about 135, and you also got the 4 terabytes, but these are on less of a deal. They're usually about 320, 360. I've seen them, and they also WD and Sabrent also have 1 terabyte models, and these are also going for under 100 pounds, and I've seen them sometimes dropping below even £80, so seems a fairly good deal on those. And these are like high-end PCI 4 drives, I guess, so should hopefully all be compatible with like direct storage, but I'm not really sure when that will be implemented in more games. The only game so far with direct storage support is Forspoken, which is a game with sort of mixed reviews. I also read that Hunt Showdown, which is a CryEngine game, will also get direct storage support at some point with an update. So yeah, if you're looking for PCI 4, like a high-end PCI 4 for direct storage, then this might be the time to get it. But there's not really much direct storage implementation at the moment, so I certainly wouldn't bash you for waiting to see if that actually pans out good or not. I also had a look at PCIe 5 drives, but they are still pretty pricey at the moment. So and there's not much variety in them at the moment, which is probably another reason why they're pricey, not just that they're new. But PCIe 4 drives have been coming down price a fair bit the last like 5 or 6 months, really since earlier this year. So that's good. And if you're looking for CPU deals, I've seen a few different Ryzen CPUs on Amazon. I said it's older, but the Ryzen 5 3600 on sale for about £65. So this is an OEM / tray CPU, so it's like a bought in bulk CPU, I guess, kind of. So it likely won't come with the usual like Ryzen box, but it all should still be fine and have warranty for Amazon. Although I haven't actually ever bought an OEM CPU, so I'm not 100% sure on that. I think, but yeah, generally new. I think I saw it was selling for about £100 if you wanted to buy it non-OEM. But yeah, maybe an older CPU, but I imagine it's still fairly capable budget CPU option. Maybe check reviews of it if you're interested. We also got the Ryzen 5600, not the X, the 5600. I think the X was on deal as well, but not quite as good of a deal. So the 5600 non-X for about £115, I think, 116. So yeah, that's still a pretty decent gaming CPU. As far as I can tell, it's brand new as well, so it's not OEM or tray, so come getting all the usual CPU packaging. Not many high-end deals really. I saw one notably, like there have been some small price reductions in the high end, but not a lot. But yeah, notably the Ryzen 9 7900X, which is my current CPU. It's the lowest I've seen it, and I saw it at 375 currently. So yeah, that might be, if you're interested in sort of higher end CPU, that's a pretty good price, I think. And Intel CPU wise, it didn't seem I couldn't find as many good deals, but the 12400F and non-F variant So this is like the previous Intel gen, but still pretty decent CPU. So yeah, it's a small deal, it's going for about 140 to 160 depending on the model. I also looked at Scan Computers. They're a retailer in the UK, and they're matching Amazon for this and some other hardware deals. Some 13th gen Intel CPUs had smaller deals as well, like the 13600K and 13400F, and the higher end CPUs, Ryzen and Intel core deals weren't as impressive. The only one I thought that was notable from like the high end was the Ryzen 9, the 7900X. And GPU wise, there aren't really many good current gen GPU deals, which isn't unexpected given the state of the current GPU market in general. So some previous gen NVIDIA GeForce and AMD Radeon cards from the 40 series and 6000 series have some price reductions on Newegg and US and UK retailers. It looks like some last gen 3070 Ti's have dropped below £500, and some 3070s also dropped below like 400. We got Radeon 6700 XT models, so they're approaching the 300 mark. I did see some for about 320 to 340. Some 6800 XTs as well were selling for around or slightly below 500, and they're actually stronger and have twice the VRAM of 3070 Ti. So for a similar price, unless you want NVIDIA specific stuff, there generally is better performing a card than the 3070 Ti. I also did see some deals on Newegg for the 7900 XTX and XT, and on a couple other sites, but nothing spectacular, I don't think, deals wise. But yeah, if you don't really follow tech and PC hardware, I would definitely recommend you check reviews on all these products before considering any of them, just in case you don't want to end up buying something that you're not sure about. But yeah, a number of these deals that I brought up for Amazon might be Prime members only. If that is the case, then you can also check other retailers. I think generally just because of the Prime Day thing. But yeah, I checked a few others like Scan Computers in the UK and Newegg US. They also have deals on, and some are matching or better than Amazon. Although one thing I will mention is Newegg has had its own like controversies the past 18 months, so maybe check Best Buy or Micro Center if you're in the US instead, if you don't want to go with Newegg. So yeah, maybe just check other online stores as well if you aren't convinced by any of the deals you see on Amazon. I think Prime Day is actually next week. It will run from the 11th until the 12th of July. 11th and 12th of July. I'm guessing there'll be more deals on those 2 days, but there are already a number of tech deals before that. And I also checked the US Amazon, and for deals for most of the deals I covered, and yeah, they had similar deals. Yeah, the only bit annoying thing is that some of these deals are for Prime members only, so definitely check other stores if you're not with Amazon Prime. And yeah, next week after the Prime Day deals are over, I'll cover some more tech and hardware deals. Like when it's sort of back to, I guess, back to normal, I'll just have a look around before I record and things, and just see what I think of like the best deals at the time, and update on those. Add another little bit of tech deals next week. So yeah, that's all the tech coverage from me today. So if you're interested, you can also, I think I mentioned this earlier, but you can also check out my gaming news, which was published yesterday, or it should have been published yesterday, depending on when this goes up. This should be going up on the 8th, but you never know, might have some issues with YouTube, but we'll see. And yeah, as always, feedback is appreciated, so go ahead and like or dislike and leave a comment. If you enjoyed my videos and commentary, feel free to subscribe also, and thank you for watching, and I'll be back again soon.